Well, hello again, and welcome back to another edition of Austin's American Flyer, where today it's story time. The story of how these two engines ended up coming to live here with me. This is a interesting journey because the original owner of these engines, and his name is Steve, had purchased these through some auction. I can't tell you any details, but he'd had them for a while and saw that I did repairs and decided to send them to me to work on. And that's when things got interesting. Today on Austin's American Flyer. Greeting Flyer friends and acquaintances and future hobbyists. Today is something kind of fun. This is a repair of an Alco AA set, and these came to me from a gentleman who's been a wonderful friend and encouragement, and he's an advisor, he's a mentor, he's all kinds of things, and so I'm really humbled to have the opportunity to work on these engines for him. The engine shells are dirty. There's some stuff on them that I can't identify. That's interesting. The pickup is completely gone. Huh. It's completely gone from the truck's side frame. In fact, this... Oh. Huh. And they're missing a side frame completely there. Yikes, I didn't see that. But this side frame must have been added, or this might not be original to this version, because there's no attachment for the place to attach the pickup. Okay, so this is a 2-unit PA set produced in 1957. The powered unit is double motor, 8-wheel drive, with the operating headlight, and the 492, which is the non-powered A unit, has electronic horn and diesel roar. So anyhow, that's kind of cool. So as I often do when I'm working on a diesel, either for myself or for someone else, I want to get sort of a baseline to understand kind of where I'm starting from. And so I'll try to get the motors to operate. And so that's where things started to, I don't know if go wrong is the right word, but they certainly went differently. I am more and more puzzled by this. He starts to wonder, he thinks, oh, okay, so there are no traction tires on here, no pull more traction tires. Okay, so this diesel chassis is an older chassis that someone put this shell on. Wow, interesting. So as I started to get into this, things were not adding up. I kept seeing things that just didn't make sense. For example, the trucks on these should have all had the additional sliding pickup. Well, that wasn't the case on all of these. There should have been pull more traction tires. There were none. Those two things were some red flags, and I thought, uh-oh, what is going on? Then when I disassembled the power unit, and I was surprised by a couple things. Number one, The wiring on it was cloth covered and looked very, very ancient. Number two, once I disassembled the motors, I found that the armatures were the small style, and the truck frames had bushings and they were black. And based on some of the YouTube videos that I've watched by others on YouTube, that told me that we were looking at a different power unit that did not come with the shell. And I'm pretty sure the power unit that's under the shell here is one of the earliest Alcos that Flyer produced. So 4950, somewhere in there. Again, these are purely estimated guesses based on some of the things I've heard, learned, and read. So someone took an old power unit and put a newer shell on it. Not sure why you do that, but that's what happened here for the powered A unit. For the B unit, it did have a diesel roar in it, which that is right for this particular series, 400 series, this late in the game. However, as I dug into that a little bit more, I found out, whoa, this is actually a very early diesel roar unit. Hard to know for sure, probably 54, 55, but it's a lot of guessing. So anyhow, that's what I stumbled into with this set. So Steve, I wanted to take a close-up of this armature. This is off of the front motor of your engine. The fact that this is a black frame means this is the earliest release of these engines. So I don't know, I haven't researched to see exactly what year the first Alcos came out, PA, but this is the earliest one. It also means that this has got bushes in it, which is cool. What's not cool is there's some play in it, and there's more play in this one. And since you told me you're probably not going to run this very much, I'm not going to mess with that because this thing probably should have a major overhaul. I also found a little bit of a warp as I spin this thing. You can't see it quite as much now, but it wobbles a little bit. Also, this is cupped. See if I can get this to focus here. This is cupped. I've done some work to recontour it, and there were also a bunch of grooves in it, and I've got those knocked down. I think probably I'm going to stop with that process because I've already taken off material, and I don't want to take too much off, but just thought I'd give you an update of what I'm finding. All right, so I discovered that one of the wires that goes to the headlight was causing a short up against the frame because the soldering joint was in bad shape and the wire was loose, so I wiggled a little bit and that popped off, but it's running pretty good. I think the brushes will continue to seat in a little bit more, so it'll run even better with some more run time. Doesn't have that's wide open transformer, so it's not super fast, but that's okay. This is a smaller motored, like I said, real early Alco. One of the things I'm amazed at is the motors are quiet. There's not, even though I showed you that play in the axle of one of them, it doesn't seem to impact the performance. It's not growling. Just pretty impressed. Man, Flyer made a good product. pretty awesome. So there you have it.
Before us is the B unit, or I should say the unpowered A unit in this particular case. It has a diesel roller that was not working. I got one new component, which is a capacitor, and also redid some of the wiring. I had found joints that were solder joints that were bad, solder joints that were missing, broken wires, and some of the wiring that was not correct. So now, and I also had to mess with the headlight because that was defunct and replace the bulb. But now after that, we have a diesel roller that works. Well, Steve, I think I've finally got your Northern Pacific units ready. I do have the shell for the diesel roar A unit that I'll put back on here. I tell you what, these guys were quite a trip. They didn't want to behave themselves very readily, and took me a couple extra days to sort through some of the things. I did replace the capacitor here, and got the diesel roar working. I did some rewiring. I found some loose joints. I found several things wrong, including the front truck was reversed. I tell you, I don't know who did what with this thing, but every time we turn around, there was something else. I'm like, what is going on with this thing? This, let's see. Okay, no, this one, yeah, this one was okay. I worked a little bit on the side frames on this to tighten them up a little bit, but they were pretty good. But one of them was bent a little bit, so I had to mess with that. This one, I actually had to use JB Weld on this back one here. I don't know if you can, whoops, I guess I should focus on what I'm doing. You see the corners on the one closest to me. There's a little bit of JB Weld in those corners. I had to replace the spring on, I guess it was the pickup on that unit there. This one, again, does not have a extra pickup on it. I can't add one because it's a different side frame. So sorry about that. But anyhow, I had to replace the front coupler, and I also put a new rear coupler on here. I put a new kind of bar on the front that leveled it up correctly because it was not level at all before. What else did I do? Oh, one of the front side frame, which I didn't do any JB Weld to it. It was torqued enough that when it would go by switches, I'd see all this arcing. And so it was, again, the whole thing was twisted, and I was able to get it straightened out a little bit more without anything, getting damaged. I put the steps back on. I put one on each shell, and I put a little tiny bit of a JB Weld behind it to hold the tiny little rivet piece in. So isn't this fun? This truly was a clue hunt, what is going on with this diesel roar unit. So it's nice to see that it's working. And the next thing I focused on after I got all the mechanicals back in the best shape I could is the shell. And if you look closely at this shell, it's kind of unfortunate because these shells are part of some of the most beautiful sets Flyer ever made, and they're highly valued, highly sought after, but not so for these. As you can see, the paint, I don't even know what it is. If someone out there knows what's going on with this paint and can tell me a way to fix it, I would be so grateful. I would be in your debt. I don't know what's going on with the paint, but there's something that has caused the paint to, bubble or get deformed. I don't know if it's a growth, but it's all over and it won't come off.
So anyhow, it's pretty sad.
Sorry, I keep forgetting to pay attention to the camera. Oh, also, I did clean the shells, but as you can see, there's something on there, and I can't tell what it is. I picked one little spot and took a Q-tip and some alcohol and kind of went after that stuff, but the Q-tip started to get green, so it was lifting the paint, but it wasn't removing this stuff, whatever it is. So I stopped. I did do a light bath with gentle suds or gentle soap and warm water and a very soft paintbrush. And I did get some dirt off of it, but I'll be quiet so you can hear your diesel roar unit. Steve, what you can't tell is I've got this huge grin on my face right now because it sounds really nice with the shell back on. Boy, that is a great sounding diesel roar. I really like it. I hope you do too.
So as I do when I'm doing repairs for people, I keep the owners up to date on what I'm finding, or if I get to a point and I see there's going to be parts needed, I kind of reach out and say, here's what I've run into, here's what's going to be necessary. Do you want me to proceed? I like to be real upfront and in communication about these repairs for folks. And I was doing that with Steve, and one thing I didn't see coming was what he told me after he saw the final video of everything running and operating well. He said, "Austin, I've been thinking about something." And I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Tell you what, why don't you just keep the engines?" And I was kind of blown away. It's not anything I expected. So anyhow, they now live here, and they are certainly an interesting piece. Maybe one day I'll have a set of these that is more legit. But for the time being, I've got an interesting story to tell about these engines, which is part of the fun, isn't it? I hope you've enjoyed this, and until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. God bless. We'll see you. Enjoy that American Flyer. Bye-bye.